Every year, the relatives visiting Moroka and Jima would let out a sigh of admiration at the rose garden that first greeted them. They would stop there to chat about the rose's beauty and how well they were blooming that year. In the midst of all this, there was a single unhealthy rose, and Maria became overwhelmed with dejection at its condition. But George used his quick wits, and saying that everything would be fine if they took care of this poor thing, marked it with a candy wrapper and immediately restored Maria's good mood. Exactly. Battler came to chew gum and fuck up witches, and he's all out of gum. Then Battler, with whom she'd been getting along well since that morning, started talking about Halloween. This was such a favorite topic of Maria's that she began playing around energetically again. To Maria, that marshmallow jack-o'-lantern candy bought by her mother was probably the greatest sort of treasure. They seemed to have bought several, and she demanded a trick-or-treat from every person she met, giving them candy instead of the other way around. I was about to say, isn't it usually the other way around? But apparently she does it this way around. I wonder why Maria likes Halloween so much. I always figured it was a pretty unfamiliar event for the Japanese. Well, it's a kids' festival where they get to parade around in costumes, right? It can be fun to play around in an outfit that's different than usual. I think there's a slightly deeper cause behind it. After all, she's the witch Maria-chan. Come to think of it, when we were at the airport, didn't Maria say that if she was going to wear a costume, it'd be a witch? Does she like witches? Yes, she loves them. She looks not happy about that. So much that it becomes a problem. Hey, it's not so bad. You expect kids at that age to love fantastical stuff like that? If it was just a heroine on some TV anime, at least it'd be cute. Judging by Rose's appearance, she wasn't very happy about her daughter's love for witches as a mother. The cousins other than Battler seemed to realize this, and they shrugged, wearing stiff smiles. So you're arguing that because she likes witches, she also likes Halloween? If we don't know, why don't we just ask her? Hey Maria, how are Halloween and witches related? As Battler asked that, George and Jessica let out a stifled as if they were trying to stop him, but too late. Is she gonna, drag him along to the next big room and hold a 5-hour lecture now about everything? Maria might have been waiting for just that question. After beaming for an instant, her expression turned a little mean, as if to say, "You're totally clueless, aren't you?" It was the face of a hobbyist who's been ticked off by an outsider saying something stupid about their favorite subject. To the Celts. Okay, here we go. To the Celts, the changing strengths of the sun over the course of a year signified its birth. I'm gonna read that with my normal voice now, because doing her voice so much is a bit too much today. To the Celts, the changing strength of the sun over the course of a year signified its birth, its growing up period, its aging and death, and then its revival. I get it. In spring, the weak, warm sun starts to grow up and get hot, and then it gradually gets weaker and worn out, so it makes sense to think of it as the sun living out an entire life. Yes, so they thought that at the end of October, the sun died, was laid to rest in the land of the dead, and was then revived at the winter solstice. And the name they gave to the last day of the year, when the sun ended its 1-year lifespan and died, was Samhain, and they celebrated then. Okay, I guess I can do her voice a bit. It's an interesting idea to think that the sun is revived on the day of the winter solstice when the daylight hours start to grow longer again. It's a case that makes it clear how much the ancients regarded the sun as sacred. I see. So what does that have to do with, witches? It seemed that my casual urging forward had slightly infuriated Maria. She glared at me with eyes that told me to shut up while she explained. Maria seemed to be having a blast as she talked, so I decided not to interrupt. In the interval between October and November, life and death become the closest they ever will. Do they? Why? The Celts believed that during this time the world of the living grew closer to the world of the dead and otherworldly beings, and many of those living in the other world would come to visit. Oh, okay, wait, I read that wrong. The Celts believed that during this time, between October and November, the world of the living grew closer to the world of the dead and otherworldly beings, and many of those living in the other world would come to visit. It was like the Bun Festival in Japan. Boop, boop. At the time, people believed that souls returning to the physical world would go into people's houses or possess people and do bad things. So in order to avoid harm, they performed rituals. One of those was to imitate creepy monsters and scare the souls back, which was apparently a way to avoid being possessed. That part became a festival, which turned into a costume parade. You really know a lot, don't you, Maria?
Ain't it the truth? Even I never knew Halloween had such history. But where did that whole trick-or-treat thing come from?
Her knowledge was so extensive that the adults had suddenly started listening in too. Maria, who was normally treated like the youngest all the time, puffed out her chest with pride. Saying that it was just a kid's discussion, Rosa suggested that the adults go on ahead and set their luggage down in the guest house. But nobody else agreed to go with her, and she let out a heavy sigh.
Everybody else like, no, we want to hear this. This is super interesting.
Oh, trick or treat is just for fun. It has nothing to do with what was originally a Celtic ceremony. It was created later when Christians and customs were mixed in.
Is it Celtic or Celtic? I forgot.
However, I think it's right for Halloween to be that way.
According to Maria, the souls of the dead weren't the only ones who visited from the non-human world. There were also spirits with intimate connections to people's everyday lives. Humans could receive favors from those spirits, so they'd manage to gain magnificent blessings. Okay, so it is Celts. I kind of thought it was, but for some reason my mind suddenly started doubting it. Humans could receive favors from those spirits, so they managed to gain magnificent blessings, as well as a year's worth of good crops. So the Scottish football team is a soft C. Well, that's a random fact to know now. So basically, Halloween was also a bit of a harvest festival. I get it. Now that you mention it, I guess October is a turning point in all kinds of ways, including with the seasons. Sort of the opposite of April in Japan. Yeah, that might be a good place to mark it.
Oh, and also the witches hold a witch assembly then, called a Sabbath. The witches thank the spirits that give out blessings of prosperity and reward them.
Halloween costumes imitate the guests that come from the other side. In other words, you might say giving out candy is a way to show gratitude for the yearly harvest.
Oh, just like George and Easton says.
So Halloween is a time when those two worlds intermingle. In other words, it's the most important chance for witches to intermingle with guests from that world. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, just like Butler says. And you know what? October is when the power of witches and demons is at its most vigorous and prosperous. I'm sure Beatrice will come. And then we'll eat marshmallow candies together, and she'll bring me to the Golden Land with her while brutally murdering everyone. We'll sing magical songs together, learn magic spells together, learn how to draw magic circles together, and then we'll learn the secrets of runes, and I'll become a great witch really, really quickly.
Good thing Rotha is not here anymore. Or is he?
My, isn't that wonderful? It's best for kids to have dreams. By the way, Rosa, how old will Maria be this year again?
Man, is he just being a bitch to everybody? I thought she was just being one nutsy.
Maria, that's enough of that. Don't worry about it, Rosa-san. It's a dream all girls have at one time or another. Thank you very much, but Maria has already graduated from that age. Hey, I'm telling you to stop.
Rosa scolded Maria, trying to shut her up before her cheery discussion about black magic earned her the snickers of the relatives. I'd like a Snickers right now. Oh shit, was that product placement? Oh, that sounds pretty detailed and impressive. By the way, who was Beatrice again? Oh, I know I've heard that name somewhere before. Battler had been gone for 6 years, and had completely forgotten about the legend of the Rokkenjima witch. However, when he said he didn't know Beatrice's name, Maria's once bright mood soured in an instant. When he saw that, Battler immediately remembered that it was the name of the witch of this island, but the damage had been done. Until Maria's mood improved, she went on and on about many mysterious and fabulous episodes regarding the Golden Witch. So Kindertrofs Backpfeifenkonzert. Genau.
That's enough, Maria. Thank you, Battler-kun, for letting her chat with you. Kana-kun, don't you have work to do? Please leave now. Goda-san, it looks like everyone wants to set down the bags for the time being. Sorry, but could you guide everyone to the guest house?
Maybe it really is slapping time now, like she seems to be ordering everyone away.
Certainly. Well then, everyone, allow me to guide you. Then if you will excuse me.
Goda led the relatives and they began to head towards the guest house. They were eager to set down their luggage and take a breather, so they didn't realize that Rosa and Maria weren't coming with them. Uh-oh. After watching them leave towards the guest house, Rosa's face changed. Suddenly, she let go with the hand that had been gripping Maria this whole time. There was a bright red mark there, making it clear how much excessive force she had been using on Maria's slender arm. That hand then slapped against Maria's head, pinched her left ear and lifted. Even though I'm always telling you not to talk about witches, haven't I always said that was our promise together?
Mama, oh, Mama, oh, 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 oh.
You really do like blabbering on about Halloween all the time, don't you?
A festival for witches. Who cares about the Celts, black magic, all that idiotic trash? You're 9 years old. 9. Because of that scene you made in the train, I went to all the trouble of making you stop at buying you those disgusting monster marshmallows that look like they have fluorescent paint on them. I went out of my way to buy it, even though it made us late. How much more will you embarrass me before you're satisfied?
As Rosa cursed, she twisted Maria's ear up, almost as though she was about to tear it off. An expression of anguish spread across Maria's face while she frantically stood on her tiptoes, trying to soften the pain in that ear. Rosa suddenly grabbed the candy that Maria had been holding. She threw it on the ground and stepped on it over and over. To Maria, it was supposed to prove of a memory of a brief span of time when her mother had bought something fun for her. But now that same mother was grinding it into the ground right in front of her. It was as though a brand had been pushed into Maria's eyes, leaving a mark that could never be erased.
What's the deal with this disgusting candy? Disgusting, disgusting. It's because you like that. It's all because you like that.
Yeah.
Disgusting, disgusting, disgusting.
As she said that, she struck Maria's head over and over again with her palm. Yeah, I think Rosa is the one who needs a Snickers. Seriously, good lord. She should... hello? That... I don't even know what to say other than... Get a hold of your fucking self and seek therapy or something. She didn't hit Maria's face, because the red swelling would stand out. Oh god, oh man. Maria closed her eyes tightly, patiently bearing her mother's violence. No, that wasn't quite it.
Come back, Mama, come back, Mama. Save me, Mama. Defeat the bad witch.
She kept bearing Rosa's assault, muttering that over and over. And then Rosa just snapped her neck, because that just sounded like that. Did you hear that sound? It sounded like she just rushed behind her and just broke her neck and threw her into the roses. I've had enough.
Didn't I tell you to stop talking about witches? Well, you.
Rosa, tired from hitting her daughter, breathed so hard her shoulders shook. Maria grasped her hands together, withstanding it, hoping her mother would return soon.
Mama, come back quickly. Save me, Mama.
This is fucking sad, man.
Beat the bad witch.
Fine, just stay there like that forever. Just stand there mumbling about witches and Halloween forever. After hurling those words at Maria, Rosa left in the direction of the guest house, leaving Maria behind. Maria, forgetting even that it was okay to cry, kept staring down at the jack-o'-lantern candy that had been trampled beyond recognition. By the way, if my son, it's kind of hard to brush his teeth sometimes, because he doesn't like it. I mean, what kid does at that age? But I might have to help when he gets his teeth, when it's teeth brushing time. So if I have to disappear for a few minutes at some point, it's because of that. Oh, Rosa, where were you? I'm sorry. The roses were so wonderful, I just couldn't stop hitting my
Rosa, sit your luggage down quickly and come with us. We're gonna go say hi to Aniki. What happened to Maria-chan? Is she still by the flower beds?
Yes. It seems she found a rose she likes and insists that she take care of it, refusing to listen. I decided to let her do what she wants for a while. We sometimes forget that girls have their own little world. Sometimes we have to respect that, right? That's right. Thank Thanks for your concern, Kirya-san. She was so busy crying she couldn't come here. Goda-san, where's our room? I will guide you this way. Allow me to hold your luggage. I'll be fine. I can carry it myself, thank you. You're gonna get the domestic violence suite. Just for you. Rosa went into her room, guided by Goda. She then closed the door somewhat violently and threw her luggage on top of the bed. She got down on her knees in front of the bed, burying her face in it. For a while, Rosa made as if to shred the sheets with her fingernails, sobbing constantly. Maria-sama, are you alright? Kanon appeared from behind a thicket after watching Rosa leave. Oh shit. It's no wonder she has like a split personality after with all that abuse.
I'm fine.
Maria gave a creepy laugh, but to Kanon, who had seen the whole thing, it looked like she was enduring as best she could. She's a horrible person. I can't believe she's a mother.
It can't be helped. You can't expect anything better than that. To enter a container of that level.
What?
I'm just fine.
Kanon got down on his knees and picked up the trampled candy. It was tragic just looking at it. He thought about dusting it off and returning it to her, but really couldn't do so with it in that condition. Just as he was wondering what to do, he met Maria's gaze. No, that wasn't quite right. Maria was looking at the candy Kanon had picked up. Right now, Maria's heart was surely the same as the candy that had been trampled into a pulp. Kanon realized this, but didn't know what he should do. That's right. I'd exchange it for the one I received earlier. Kanon remembered that a similar candy he'd received from Maria was in his pocket. Maria stuck out her hand. Kanon thought she was trying to take it, so he held out the candy, but Maria didn't try to grasp it. Then Kanon realized she was saying give it back. No matter how tragic and trampled it was, this candy was Maria's. Her mother had bought it for her. No matter how tragic, it had to be this candy and no other. If only it were intact enough that it could be fixed by dusting it off. Kanon hung his head. Dusting it off is the most I can do. I'm sorry. Kanon held out the miserable-looking candy Maria wanted. She took it and spoke.
Thank you. A human can't do anything except dust it off, but a witch could restore it to how it once was. It would be easy for Beatrice.
Maria-sama, you know about Beatrice-sama? Except for Battler, there was no way anyone related to the Ushidomiya family could have failed to know Beatrice's name. But just now, Maria had bragged about Beatrice to Battler. She had spoken almost as though she was meeting with Beatrice regularly. Kanon felt a sharp pain inside his left hand, which was curled into a fist. In the past, a witch called Beatrice had appeared to tempt him and Shannon. He had always tried to think of it as a bad dream. However, Shannon insisted that it definitely was a real witch. And then this summer, the shrine to the local Shinto god was hit by lightning, disappearing without a trace over the span of a single night. He knew about Shannon breaking that mirror, and he remembered that as the witch departed, she said she'd eventually be revived. And now this girl who believed absolutely in Beatrice spoke as though she had met Beatrice herself. Kanon couldn't suppress a vague sense of foreboding welling up in his heart. For a while, Maria remained silent, as though she could see into Kanon's heart, almost as though she was waiting for a memory of Beatrice to be revived, and then she spoke as though it was a fact.
You know, I'm friends with Beatrice. I'm even gonna meet her today and play.
You're going to play?
Yeah, of course we'll play. We're gonna study magic together.
The face of that witch, whom Kanon had tried to pretend was a bad dream, began to slowly creep into the back of his mind.
Father says he's extremely busy with his research. Unfortunately, it seems he'll be unable to come down.
Come on. We've put this conference in our schedules and come all the way out to Rokkenjima during this crazy busy fall season. You'd think Dad could at least be a bit more sociable.
Yeah, seriously. Dr. Nanjo, is it really his research and his mood that are the problem? He isn't already bedridden, unable to get up, right?
Well, I wonder. There's not much I can say.
Nanjo glanced at Natsuhi. It seemed he thought it wasn't his place to speak without first getting Natsuhi's approval.
Father's state of health is better than ever. It would be exceedingly rude to call him bedridden. But he only has 3 months left to live, right? Normally, wouldn't you expect him to be wasted away, unable to get out of bed? Isn't that right, Dr. Nanjo?
For a normal patient, that would probably be the case, but Kinzo-san has extraordinary willpower. Perhaps that willpower has frightened even the Reaper away.
Well, if he's that energetic, then I guess we have little to worry about for the near future, right?
Though, if he's got that much spunk, I wish he'd at least come to greet us. Isn't the whole point of this family conference to come and see Dad's face? I'm not even sure why we came now.
Don't say that. If you were here, you'd complain the whole time about being unable to relax. Shouldn't we celebrate the fact that all of our siblings have gathered this year to spend some time alone?
We didn't get to see him at last year's family conference either, right? Can't you understand why his blood children might want to see him after 2 years? If there's anything you'd like to say in greeting, I will tell him for you. Or Ifa-san, is there something you'd like to discuss with Father beyond merely greeting him? Come on, what are you talking about? Sheesh.
Give it a rest, Eva. Natsui-san, forgive us. Eva's just worried about Father's condition as his daughter. Please try and understand how she feels. Indeed. Look how quickly you've grown to respect Father now that you know how much longer he has to live. Yes, I believe I do understand why you want to see him so much. Huh.
What are you trying to say?
Quit it, Aniki. Why don't we pray that his mood will improve by dinner? Anyway, we've only just arrived. For now, we're only here for a casual greeting. And we could even hold the family conference without Dad. In fact, there's a few things we siblings shouldn't bring to him until we formed a unified opinion. Isn't that right, Hideyoshi Ni-san?
Yep. Just as Rudolph says. This is the only time of year we can all meet in person. We've got to take this valuable time seriously and be frank with each other.
Even though the tea hadn't yet arrived, they were very determined.
But before that, perhaps we can spare the time to enjoy some black tea at our leisure, surrounded by the wonderful furnishings of the parlor.
Kiria's words seemed to contain a subtle admonition directed at everyone gathered there. They all understood, and as they cleared their throats and straightened their neckties, the atmosphere in the room returned to normal for a time.
Excuse me, I've brought some tea.
Hey, Shannon-chan, you just keep getting prettier and prettier.
Shannon entered the parlor, pushing the serving cart. Everyone decided to relax and enjoy some black tea for the time being. A wonderful aroma began to spread throughout the room. As far as anyone could see, the strained atmosphere from before Shannon's arrival seemed like a lie. Of course, Shannon, who was setting out the tea, probably didn't even notice. Kiria seemed to laugh faintly at how adult everyone was suddenly acting. Rudolph didn't like it when Kiria took the initiative and spoke at the family conference. It was his worthless male pride. He probably didn't want to look like a weak man who took advice from his wife. How could you? She understood that and did her best to refrain from saying any more than was necessary. So she separated herself from the circle of siblings who only superficially appeared to be enjoying some time together alone, and casually drank her tea near the window.
Delicious tears. Oh, Rosa-san, I thought you siblings were enjoying some alone time. You must be joking. Sorry, don't take it the wrong way. I'm just a little exasperated by my husband.
Apparently Rosa hadn't been able to keep up with that on the surface friendliness. They'd come here to fight bloodily and dirtily, each trying to grab a part of the inheritance for themselves. Drink the tears, yeah. She probably didn't like suddenly pretending that they were all chummy. Or maybe she was still too immature for that.
It looks like the wind has started blowing hard out there. The plants are all shaking so much. The typhoon's probably gotten pretty close already. I wonder if we'll see a lot of rain tonight.
Yeah, drink those tears, everyone.
Maria-chan really has grown a lot this past year. Does it look that way? She still can't even fold her own clothing yet. No, it's true. It's because she has such an affectionate mother.
I'm not sure if I would call it affectionate.
She'll grow into a girl with a rich heart.
and an iron fist.
Rosa fell silent. Maybe she was unsure as to what Kyria meant by that.
I'm a failure as a mother. Children don't get to choose their parents. That poor girl.
Doesn't it go both ways? A parent can't choose what kind of child they have either. Rosa bit her lower lip.
This isn't a matter of assigning blame. Isn't it enough that you take your time and watch over her as she grows, conscious of the fact that you'll be living together? You spend every day with Maria-chan, so you probably don't notice the small changes, but the rest of us who haven't seen her for a year can see clearly how much she's grown.
If you really mean that, thank you very much. Then if you will excuse me, if there is anything you desire, please call for it at any time.
Shannon bowed politely and left the room. As Hideyoshi and Rudolph, who had a soft spot for women, watched her go, the atmosphere in the room began to revert back to what it had been right before Shannon's visit.
If Father can't come down, well, that does still leave us with certain things we can discuss. Right, Rudolph?
Yeah, that's right. We didn't come all the way out here just to drink some dusty tea, right?
Very well. What is this matter that you're clearly so eager to discuss?
My, those people really are determined. They certainly got started quick. I need to join in too. If I don't assert myself, those people will quickly forget that there are 4 siblings. Sounds like you've got it pretty tough yourself. Maybe I spoke too harshly. Forgive me. No, I don't mind. I'm the one who should be apologizing. As a pair of mothers with daughters, we should talk more often. Every single time we meet, we end up talking about something shady. You can blame the atmosphere in the mansion for that. Once we start breathing in this air, the mood between us gets so strained. Just once, I'd like to have a nice long cup of tea with you when we are attending a family conference. There's a wonderful coffee shop at Kinzo that's a favorite of mine. Please let me invite you sometime soon. Thank you, Kyria-san. That sounds great. Oh no, the sky has gotten dark pretty fast. I could almost believe the people in this room made the weather worse. There's already thunder. Well, was that one there? Huh?
There really were small splashes of rain on the glass of the parlor window. The weather seemed to have worsened faster than expected. Just then, a silent thunderbolt struck inside Rosa's head, and she remembered that her beloved child was out in the rose garden. A normal girl would try to go inside if the weather got bad, but Maria was different. She would sometimes get stubborn and refuse to move if rain or even spears fell from the sky. That's right, I told that child to just stay there doing that forever, didn't I? Oh no, Maria! So we're already at this point, okay. Everyone looked back at Rosa when she let out a small scream.
What? What is it?
I'm sorry, I'm going outside for a second. I'll be right back.
What the? Seriously? What's going on with her?
Don't worry, she'll be back soon. More importantly, shouldn't we begin our main topic? That's right. We can keep talking about that without Rosa. Let's return to our discussion.
Rosa dashed from the entrance hall into the rose garden, while I will quickly dash to the toilet because I drank way too much tea. I'll be right back. Alright. Rosa dashed from the entrance hall into the rose garden. When she opened the door, the wind that hit her was too strong to be called a light breeze and told her that the typhoon was approaching faster than she thought. Just as Kyria had said, the wind was mixed in with small droplets of rain. Let's make it darker here. Fits the atmosphere. There was also a low rumble of thunder. It could start raining any time. Rosa headed for the rose garden. She headed for the place where she had scolded Maria a short while ago. It was almost lunchtime. The children had been told to come to the mansion around lunchtime, so they were probably in the guest house waiting to be called. Even if Maria didn't come to them, they would surely think I took her to the mansion with me, and wouldn't worry much. After all, she had been with her mother, so there should have been no reason to worry. I was here, and I abandoned my daughter to the worsening weather.
Maria, are you there? If you're there, answer me.
I was right. She was still standing stock still, exactly the same way she had been, in the place where I had scolded her. Held in her hand was the candy that I had bought, given her, and then stepped on and crushed. With that gripped in her hand, she stood there as the powerful winds whipped her hair about, tormenting her.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry, Maria. Forgive Mama. Mama, welcome back. I waited a long time for you to come back. The scary witch pinched me, but I stayed strong waiting for Mama to come back without crying.
Maria, forgive your mama, forgive your mama.
You didn't do anything wrong. You were just possessed by a bad witch again. So I'm fine. I really like you, Mama. I love you.
Ah, I'm sorry. Please forgive your mama for losing to the bad witch.
Rosa buried her face in Maria's small chest, crying and begging forgiveness, and once again those tears dripped down after who knows how many times. If only the brilliant sun had been shining on the two of them, all of their cares would have evaporated and it might have felt like they could begin new. However, what surrounded the two of them was the worsening weather. Sadly, there were only fierce winds with occasional thunder. The sound of Maria sniffling brought Rosa to her senses. If Maria stood exposed to the wind for too long, she'd probably catch a cold.
Okay, Maria, it's almost time for lunch. Why don't you come back to the mansion with me?
Won't go.
Why not?
Rosa thought she'd already received Maria's forgiveness, so she hadn't imagined Maria would refuse. But the expression on Maria's face didn't look like that of a child resisting her mother, so Rosa couldn't understand why Maria wanted to stand still pointlessly as the weather grew even worse. Maria answered that question.
It's Beatrice. She'll be here really soon. So I'm waiting.
Maria?
Oh, here comes Act 2. Rosa struggled to find words for a moment, then fell silent. They had only just managed to make up after all. She chose her words carefully, trying to get Maria to come with her to the mansion without denying the witch outright.
Beatrice is coming? Really? Then instead of waiting here, why don't we wait in the mansion? If you stay in this wind too long, you will catch a cold.
She'll come. Beatrice will come. And when she does, I'll give her candy. I'll do trick or treat. I'll give her a jack-o'-lantern marshmallow candy and say, Happy Halloween.
Maria pulled yet another sweet out of her handbag, moaning ooh. Rosa was bewildered and didn't know what to do as Maria started being difficult again. At that time, there was a sudden blast of thunder. It was probably a sign that this island had been sealed off by the storm, detached from common sense and reality. So after this moment, all common sense would probably cease to apply. The wind blew even stronger, and amidst that blizzard of scattered rose petals, a figure appeared, leaving Rosa unable to imagine that this was a scene from reality. What, she actually going to appear in front of Rosa now? It was probably, no, definitely, fantastical. After all, that shadow of a person was... Oh shit. Look, she's probably dressed and all. She's gonna waltz in there now and be like, alright bitches, time's up. I'm gonna fuck you all up here.
Beatrice!
Maria dashed over to the shadow. Normally, Rosa would scold her daughter if she dashed over to someone whom she hadn't seen before and didn't know. But Rosa forgot to do that, was unable to do anything but stand there stunned.
It's been quite some time. Have you been well?
I've been well. We just don't catch colds.
Indeed, a witch can use curses to make people catch colds, but how foolish would it be if she caught one herself? From now on, you should take care not to catch something like a cold yourself.
She patted Maria's head as she said this, smiling roguishly. Rosa couldn't have known the name of the woman who was happily spoiling Maria. However, Maria had called it out in the beginning when the woman appeared. So even though Rosa had never met her, even though the woman still hadn't introduced herself, Rosa was able to know her name. However, that name held a special meaning on Orokenjima and in the Ushiro Miya family. There's no way something that stupid could be.
Beatrice, happy Halloween. Look at what we bought. I'll give you one too, Beatrice.
Indeed, happy Halloween. How is this for me? How truly adorable that a candy would be made out of this. The lonely light of a man lost in the darkness of purgatory, unable to go to heaven or hell. Right now, on this island that has been cut off both from the world of humans and the world of non-humans, there may be no more suitable sweet. Maria, what is wrong with that one?
Uh-oh. The witch noticed the sweet Maria was grasping. It was Maria's candy, which had been stomped on by Rosa until it reached this pitiful state.
Oh, got stepped on and smashed. Can you fix it, Beato?
Maria didn't go so far as to say that it was her mother who'd stepped on it. However, for some reason, when the witch saw that candy, she looked at Rosa and grinned. A chill went down Rosa's spine, as though this gaze was staring straight through her.
It shall be easy. Give it to me.
Maria held the candy out gleefully. Rosa could do nothing but watch, stunned. How did this person plan to trick Maria, somehow undoing the fact that the candy had been pitifully trampled? Maria looked as though she believed it could be fixed good as new. Without real magic, there was no way such a thing could be possible.
My, it is quite crushed, isn't it? Come, Maria. Close your eyes and try to remember. Because it really was that wonderful, the candy. The candy of your memories is always full and fluffy. So you try to remember as well. What kind of candy was it really?
Along with those strange words, spoken as though singing an improvised folk song, the witch threw the sweet into the air. Maria was closing her eyes and remembering, just as the witch had told her to. What shape had that crushed candy really had? Therefore, only Rosa saw that scene. The sweet that had been thrown into the air burst into a gold color. No, that wasn't it. Those were golden butterflies. It scattered into several golden butterflies, and they began to gather at the witch's hand, which was held up to the sky. And as she did this, unbelievably, it returned to its beautiful original form, no different from when it had been bought. Look at Rosa. She's like, what? Only Rosa and the witch witnessed that scene. Unable to comprehend what was occurring before her fucking eyes, Rosa stood with her mouth hanging open, completely forgetting to shut it.
You may now open your eyes. Take it. With this, your sweet has returned to normal.
Beatrice is always incredible.
She still has that stare. Maybe she's gonna stand there like this for the rest of the conference. There was a stark contrast between Rosa's shock and Maria's innocent joy. Was that what the witch was laughing at? A smile floated to Beatrice's face, one different from the smile she'd shown Maria.
Does my face seem familiar? If you stare so fixedly, you might burn a hole through it. I'm sorry.
Those words triggered something very clearly in Rosa's mind. Rosa knew this face. She knew it from the portrait of the witch. But no, wait. Could this mystery woman really be...
Maria, I give you this in exchange for the sweet you gave me.
Ooh, a letter?
The witch pulled a western envelope from her pocket and gave it to Maria. However, when Maria made to open it, the witch stopped her.
No, you must not. The time will soon come for you to open it. But until then, you absolutely must not. Take good care of it. That will be your invitation to the Golden Land.
The Golden Land! Yeah! So you'll finally take me there! Yeah!
Take it and treat it with care. You must not show it to anyone.
But Rosa just saw it.
Oh, I keep that promise. You've always got to keep promises with witches.
Yeah, that seems like a safe thing to do.
And this is for you.
And then she punched her in the face.
Huh? Me?
She probably hadn't imagined that the witch would speak to her too. Rosa was bewildered by the second western envelope which was thrust before her. She'd seen this type of envelope before. There could be no mistake. It was one of Kinzo's special envelopes, used when he wrote with his own hand and bearing the Yoshiromiya family crest. It was sealed with red sealing wax, and furthermore, it had a mark that seemed to have been made by the head's ring. In other words, even without asking what was inside this letter, Rosa knew that this woman, whom Maria called Beatrice, was trusted enough to be placed in charge of a personal letter of the current Yoshiromiya head.
It could have been any of the four siblings. However, the fact that I have met you here probably means that you were chosen by Kinzo's roulette. So take it.
Bewildered.
Then read its contents aloud while seated at the dinner table when all of the siblings are gathered. What did you say?
Bewildered? Bewildered, I guess. Yeah, okay. I have heard it like that before. Why am I saying bewildered? I don't even know. But again, thanks for correcting me. That's very... I appreciate that. It's definitely what I want from people here. You never stop learning, and you shouldn't.
What did you say?
Rosa looked back and forth several times between the witch's face and the envelope that had been handed to her. Today was the family conference, and the biggest object of discussion would be the inheritance problem. Well, not anymore, I would say. So she had joined together with Eva and Rudolph, and they planned to force a certain condition on Klaus to try and extort several 100 million yen in cash out of him. Yes, spoiler alert, that's not gonna go well. It was as if the witch could see through all of that. What does she intend to announce when all of her siblings are gathered? And with a personal envelope that no one but the Yoshiromiya head can use.
Maria, the weather is getting worse. Return to the guest house and wait for lunchtime. And Rosa, we will meet again later. Allow me to introduce myself again at that time.
The witch turned her back to her, laughing. Then she began to head towards the mansion with an air of composure. Maria energetically called out and watched her go, then began to dash towards the guest house, leaving Rosa behind. It's funny how she immediately listens to her. As though she wanted to inform the other cousins of her fortunate meeting with the witch as soon as she could. At last, Rosa was left alone in the rose garden as the winds grew stronger, unable to do anything but pray that what had happened was just a daydream. Well, I mean, you have the envelope, so don't think you can convince yourself it was a daydream. Shit, she's just fucking waltzing in there. Well, that's crazy. When the witch reached the entrance hall, Genji could be seen there. Genji welcomed the guest, approaching from the entrance hall with a respectful bow. I mean, they were talking about a very important guest coming. And for a moment, I was thinking that maybe they were talking about her, but I kind of thought they weren't. But apparently they were.
I have been waiting, Beatrice-sama. It's been quite some time, Genji. Huh. You've gotten a hold. No matter how old it becomes, furniture carries out its work like furniture until the end. I remember how that man's wife used to be jealous of you.
Oh, menu updated. I guess it's her. Beatrice, the mysterious visitor and 19th person who appeared on the day of the family conference. She goes by the same name as the Golden Witch who gave the gold to Kinzo. Shit, Kinzo's gonna flip his shit. He's gonna come rushing down the stairs so fast, he will, like, break the sound barrier when he hears she's there. Her reasons for visiting are unknown. She was ushered into the VIP room, which no one has been allowed to use in the past.
I remember how that man's wife used to be jealous of you. Is Kinzo doing well?
What does she mean by that? Does she mean like Genji was once super handsome and young, and Kinzo's wife was jealous of him? I'm not sure I understand what she means by that.
He is doing extremely well. Huh.
The witch probably laughed because she knew Kinzo's own doctor had announced that Kinzo didn't have long to live. However, if anyone actually looked at Kinzo and noticed his vigor, which wasn't at all what you'd expect from someone nearing the end of his life, they might easily call that doing extremely well. Maybe that's what the witch was laughing at. Just came to pat Maria affectionately and kill everyone else. And I'm already off patting Maria. Oh no.
Then let us go and greet him.
I look forward to hurling curses at each other after 30 years. What, she's actually going to greet him now? He's probably just going to fall to the ground and be dead instantly. He's going to die from shock, or his head is going to literally explode and splatter all across the walls. All over everything. Just endlessly splatter and gore and Kinzo blood. I mean, after how crazy he was for her, I would not be surprised if the laws of physics and everything would change for that to become possible in that moment. The moment he sees her, just... Or maybe not. I'm actually really looking forward to his reaction now. As the witch grinned, she started walking, leaving Genji behind. Her gait was like that of a family member who knew the inside of the mansion well. Genji followed her in the manner of one who served her. At that time, Kyria came out of the parlor. She'd probably gone out to fix her makeup or something. Next on the Kinzo reacts to a YouTube series. Exactly. And when she saw Genji following a witch, she was surprised, although her expression did not change. Huh, Genji, following a witch. Oh. My. I would subscribe to that as well. A guest for Kinzo had arrived, despite him being almost dead, on the day of the family conference when the fate of the inheritance was to be decided. And furthermore, this person was familiar enough with the Yoshidomiya family household that Genji was following behind her. Kyria immediately realized that this person she had never met before was deeply important. Kyria and the witch's eyes met. Realizing that it would be rude to pretend not to notice, she greeted the witch. It's a pleasure to meet you. You were Rudo's second wife, yes? Correct. This is Kyria-sama, Rudo-sama's current wife. From this exchange, Kyria realized that this was a guest of fairly high rank, even amidst the Yoshidomiya family. And the fact that this was a guest on that level, coupled with her resemblance to the portrait in the entrance hall, made Kyria's eyes instantly open wide. What the hell? Ooh la la. Okay.
Pleased to meet you. I'm Kyria. I wonder if this is our first meeting. If we have met before, I apologize for forgetting your name. So you intend to force me to state my name even though you already have a vague idea of the answer?
Huh. Damn. Kyria thought she'd given a sociable and humble greeting. Her expression grew slightly cloudy at that openly oppressive response. At any rate, this didn't seem to be a person she could grow to like. But if Kyria's guesses were correct, this witch probably held a vital key to what her own husband was most interested in, something that couldn't help but influence tonight's family conference. So without shooting back a retort, Kyria silently watched her go up to the stairs to the second floor, with Genji following behind. I'm still amazed by this. That the last thing I expected was Beatrice to just be like, "Yo homies, I'm here," and waltz in there. So when someone tapped her shoulder from behind, she was so surprised she almost choked. It was Natsuhi.
Kyria-san, why are you standing still in a place like this? Are you not feeling well? I'm sorry. I was just fascinated by the portrait of the witch for a bit. Oh, you mean the Golden Witch, Beatrice? The one whose gold was supposedly necessary for the revived Yoshidomiya family we see today. Quite a fantastical story, just what one might expect from father.
Natsuhi spoke in a perfectly ordinary way. It was the sort of comment you'd expect from someone convinced that the thought of a witch existing was ridiculous, no more than another of Kinzo's ramblings. However, for some reason, that point of view didn't seem quite right to Kyria now, which is funny and ironic, considering that she was one of those who heavily argued in episode 1 that there was no 19th person. And now she's like one of the first people to witness her. Just a moment ago, she herself had seen the Golden Witch come in from the entrance hall and climb up the stairs. Climb up the stairs. Why did I say two? So Natsuhi's words made it feel as though someone was trying to deny the existence of that person, or else make it seem like she was never there to begin with.
I'm sorry. Maybe I'm getting a bit of a headache. I think I'll rest for a little while. Oh, is that so? Then I have some good headache medicine.
I bet you do.
I'll get it for you.
The hallway in front of Kinzo's study was filled with a scent of sweet poison peculiar to that green liquor. Genji, who was completely used to it, did not grimace. And the Golden Witch didn't grimace either.
How long has he been in there since last he left?
I believe it has already been several years.
Is he that desperate to turn me into a bird in a cage? How pitiful. By now, you're the bird in a cage. You're the ghost of this study, are you not? How pitiful that he is unable to recognize even that.
Until he meets you again, he will probably continue his research, even after literally becoming a ghost.
Is it love or madness or a delusion? And yet, perhaps even those can form magical power when strong enough. You sad magician.
The witch grasped the doorknob to the study. When she did, there was a sound like that of flesh burning and splitting open. Holy shit, it was the sound of the doorknob literally burning the witch's hand.
Beatrice-sama. What is this? A ward against magic? Is that person unable to get by without relying on something like this?
I have heard that this door would cause you great pain, Beatrice-sama. Shall I open it?
No, it's fine. If he wins, I will be a bird in a cage for all eternity. If he loses, only the life of a laughingstock will be left, the life of a pitiful magician who went mad with love and lost everything. Already, Kinzo and even I are nothing more than pieces laid out on the game board. All that is left is for the roulette to decide who wins and who loses. Until the roulette shows its result, there's no need for me and Kinzo to meet again.
Aw, boo, I wanted to see that. The witch looked at her hand, which was beginning to heal bit by bit, even though it had been horribly burned.
Or perhaps that is why he has this ward here in the first place. Huh. Yes, perhaps even that is honorable in its own way. By now, everything sits on top of Kinzo's game board.
I like it, Kinzo. Allow me to enjoy my game with you.
Allow me to enjoy the failure of the final gamble of the old magician who fell in love with me and threw away his entire life.